Welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the official podcast of everythingaction.com.
Hello and welcome to the Everything Actioncast podcast for week of June 12th, 2023. I'm your host, Zach.
And I'm your co-host, Chris.
And we got a bunch of stuff this week, but we have to kick things off, unfortunately, with some sad news. We lost a slew of notable people this week. To start off with another shocking out of nowhere death. Treat Williams died this week at age 71. He was in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, what a way to did not expect that.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, because we saw recently a Treat Williams movie that made us rethink about his roles and where he's been in Hollywood and all that, and he was a good actor.
Yeah, I feel like he always gave because we saw Age of Dinosaurs, obviously. And I mean, even in an asylum schlock fest, he was still he wasn't phoning it in. He was
yeah, he gave it his all. I feel
yeah.
You never really see a role with him where he just was just reading lines and then waiting to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
And I think growing up, I saw him in a lot of jock movies, so I was always associated him. He had jock roles in his early career. And then
in the 80s or
yeah, 1941.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see that?
I see parts of it. I haven't seen the whole thing.
It's worth seeing. It's not worth. I'm not sure how great it holds up over time because it's it's a comedy. I think it's National Lampoon's.
No, it's a Steven Spielberg movie.
Wow.
It's supposed to be it's his parody of World War II movies or
yeah, it's early American early American involvement. So they kind of have no business being in the war yet, but then they're all assholes. But he plays a character that is supposed to be this super soldier guy, and he's very regal and stuff, and he
mm-hmm.
I think he's trying to chase down someone else that's trying to steal his girlfriend. He's basically that kind of role.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be the villain.
Well, no, the two that I always think of are for Treat Williams is Deep Rising,
mm-hmm.
which was, I believe that was the movie that Stephen Sommers made right before The Mummy. That was the test run for The Mummy, basically. And yeah, he was the main star. He was the John McClane of that movie because it was basically Die Hard mixed with crazy monsters
on a boat. Yeah,
on a boat. Yeah, so ghost ship, I guess, too. And then the other movie I always think of with him is The Phantom.
The Phantom, yeah. The
Xander Drax.
He played a great 1940s villain.
Yeah, it was 30s, 40s.
30s,
yeah.
40s, he had all they did was slap the suit on him and the mustache. He had the haircut.
Yep.
He had the transatlantic voice. That
yeah.
kind of businessman talk, and then just evil oh, I'm going to go to the jungle and collect skulls or diamond heads. And not wear anything appropriate. He's still wearing a 3-piece suit in the jungle.
Yeah, a full tux or something.
And yeah, those were very early movie memories. And then whenever he kind of popped in and out of things, he wasn't in a lot of TV shows, but I think he had guest spots now and then.
Well, Everwood was this big one. He was the main. He was the star of Everwood, along with the kid.
And then Everwood apparently is a show I just totally blank on because Chris Pratt was in it and all these other up and coming stars, and I was wait, this was a thing.
I think that was a WB show. That was
pre-CW.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like right. It was still like W Frog was still there.
When you still had UP, like CW, or you said WB and UPN were still both a thing. I know now because it's on. If you watch like anything on like the CW app, they sometimes they play because they also have like CW Seed, which is like they're like it's like the archive of stuff. So they'll have like commercials sometimes for like watch Everwood on the CW Seed app. But that's probably like a huge but like a ton of people probably know Treat Williams only from Everwood. But some other things, he took over the Substitute franchise, which yeah, that became a franchise, and he was in like 3 of them.
Yeah, he took over Tom Berenger. Did he
Yeah,
play the same character?
I think he was a different character. I think he was just a different substitute that just went to like, but then he was the same character in all of his movies, but like just a different substitute that went to like a different school that was like, like on the brink.
That was always a secret like gang hangout, drug
Yeah.
runner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I always blur the substitute movies together. That wasn't Tom Berenger. Because it always starts the same, where it's like, hey, I need to like sneak into the school system of this inner city that needs my help, and I need to like beat up a lot of people until the big boss shows up.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that series. I'm surprised he didn't also just like follow like the Tom Berenger like roles, and he was just gonna be in sniper movies.
I'm surprised he was in a sniper movie because he wasn't in like a lot of like random like 90s or like early 2000s like action movies too, just like showing up randomly like I don't know, like Gale Force or like Critical Mass or like Crash Point Zero or like all these like. Also recently too, like he was on We Own the City, which is like the like that. It's basically the same thing about you, The Wire. It was like that like HBO miniseries from last year about like the corrupt like Baltimore task force.
Oh,
He was on like 2 episodes. He was really good at it. He was like kind of like this like he like I think he quit the police and was like a some sort of like or like he was like instructor for the police, but then he's just like I try, but like as soon as they get out there, I can't help them anymore. He's gonna chew him up. And then the last thing he's gonna be in is the next season of the Ryan Murphy show Feud, which I think is gonna be like it's Capote. It's like something with like it's like Truman Capote or something based. He's gonna be on that season, which is coming up I think later this year. But yeah, R.I.P. Treat Williams. Go check out definitely like Deep Rising if you haven't seen Deep Rising. That movie's a ton of fun. Or the Phantom or like one of the other, one of those other like uh
all the substitute movies after one. He was in 4 substitute movies.
yeah. So Cormac McCarthy also passed away this week. The the illustrious author who a ton of his books have been turned into movies. I mean, obviously No Country for Old Men, The Road, Child of God, All the Pretty Horses, Sunset Limited. He wrote the script for The Counselor, that crazy Ridley Scott movie.
Oh.
Which was not based on his books. He just wrote the screenplay for it. And then lots of other like books that haven't been turned into movies yet, but like are like very well regarded, like Blood Meridian and Outer Dark, like. And I think he's definitely had like really good luck with like he had like good luck like turning his movies into like books into movies. I mean like No Country for Old Men, obviously like one of the best movies. Like The Road's great. I haven't seen Child of God or All the Pretty Horses, but I'm assuming they're probably pretty well regarded too.
Yeah, I never heard of Child of God, but all the Pretty Horses I've heard of a lot, and I still don't know what it's about.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about horses. It's
No.
about like someone at a ranch.
Yeah, it's like a Matt Damon, Penelope Cruz, like Henry Thomas movie, and then Billy Bob Thornton directed it. But yeah, so yeah, Cormac McCarthy, and then we also just I think it was actually today we were recording. John Romita Sr. passed away, the legendary comic artist at age 93. I mean, he basically he helped co-create Mary Jane Watson and the Punisher and Wolverine and Luke Cage. So just a few minor Marvel characters that he helped like create.
Just sort of just did sketches, and Stanley's like, yeah, that's good, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he eventually became like the overall like art director of Marvel in like I think it's like 60s and 70s.
The silver golden age.
Yeah. And was like like that one of the best runs of Spider-Man, like the classic runs where they had like like Spider-Man No More and like all those different like issues. Like he was the artist on all those.
Yeah, he really, him and his son later on, when they had the 2000s run, where
Yeah.
they started getting more current event, and then there was a certain look that even a lot of other comics started following, that him and his son just sort of were keeping track with.
They both just like really just defined Spider-Man for like decades.
Like sometimes I could see, like, it's pretty cool that father and son share the same like artistic modeling, because you could definitely tell Romita Sr. work, and then Junior's work is very distinct also now, but you can tell where it like started from his father. And then it was cool whenever they teamed up, and then their art collage was like amazing. It was like the most definite Romita art piece. I think I own one Romita like picture, but I think it's from Junior. And then I think if you wanted like a senior, it's like really expensive back then. Now it's gonna be hard, but I mean I get it. His work was great, especially when he did the like light blue and red Spider-Man. Like that was the classic. Like you saw that in like Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends. You saw that in the comics where he fights all these like introducing new heroes, and yeah, like he definitely was like one of those like flagship artists that a lot of people looked up to. And 93, I mean, he saw a lot in the comic industry.
Yeah. I mean, he started on like the like Captain America when it was like Atlas Comics Captain America. Like
yeah, back when you made Captain America just like a skinny guy.
Captain America Commie Smasher.
I don't think he had like big shoulders. He was just like some dude in an outfit. He didn't have the big body look until the 60s. But now it's like double the proportion.
I mean, he might be a little bit bigger, like the Marvel, but yeah, I mean, he looks like if you saw, I mean, if you see it, you're like, oh yeah, it's Captain America. Like,
yeah, no, I'm saying the outfit, but then it's like when you think of superhero, like there's a John Romita like template he had that was like, this is the super, like, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like everyone in the comic world was like an athletic build athlete. Like I think about Bruce Timm's art style. I always think like everyone in that universe is just like an athlete for no reason.
Yeah.
All the women are cheerleader bodies, and all the men are just walking like refrigerators.
Linebackers. Like,
yeah. And then, like, they slowly start playing around with different body types, where not everyone is just a superhero out of costume. But Romita was, hey, if I got the main hero, he looks like the main hero. He has like eventually the definition change where it's like this is the superhero body. And you appreciate that when you're reading that early. And now it's all shapes and sizes, but when you come into the comic industry, it's like this is fantasy. This is the like greater than life models. And definitely like all the comics he was like writing for, like just drawing for, and probably just like, yeah, I wouldn't do this, blah blah blah. Like I wouldn't put this character here. This makes no sense. these people don't know each other.
Mhm.
You know, he was probably a giant like influence at Marvel where they didn't play around. It's like, let's just try to keep this in order. I'm not saying Marvel today is having those issues, but modern comics are having those issues
Mhm.
where they're just like, I don't know, just change a color, put this guy here, make him like this. Like, why? Don't you guys have a ruler? This guy's arm is 4 times as big. Like, you ever see online, just people post like comics that like you can tell the artist sort of just didn't care, they phoned it in.
I mean, yeah. Every once in a while, I see like someone post like a terrible like comic book art like panel or something.
But it's never Romita Sr.
Yeah.
It's always someone else, but it's never Romita Sr. Junior sometimes. There's this really hilarious photo of this panel of I guess spoiler alert when Miss Marvel, Camilla Khan, like when they announce she dies, and you see
Yeah.
like all these faces, and they are just so like apathetic. They're like, eh. You know, it's as if you said like, oh,
Yeah.
the pizza got burnt, and they're just like, ah.
Darn. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Like it's just like, what happened here? You're announcing like the death of this hero, and they're just like, oh, okay. Can I be Captain Marvel now? Can I be Miss Marvel? Like,
Yeah.
so, I'm not saying everyone has a perfect record, but you don't hear so much about Romita Sr.
Mhm. Well, yeah. R.I.P. to all three of those guys. So moving on to some trailers. I don't know if it's I don't think it's the first trailer, but I think it's maybe the first full trailer. It's a new trailer for next month's Netflix movie, They Cloned Tyrone, which is our annual Netflix Jamie Foxx summer blockbuster, because we've had like a Jamie Foxx movie on Netflix every year for like the last couple of years. There was like what was it Powers? It was like
What was that vampire one?
well, that was last year. That was Day Shift.
Oh,
And then the year before that was like it was it I keep wanting to say Powers, but was it Powers? It was like there's one where like the drug where you take the drug and you get like superpowers or
it's
whatever.
Powers.
It was Project Power. Project Power.
Oh,
There's Powers was like that comic book that like they tried to like Sony. It was like the PlayStation. You can only watch it on, like the PlayStation Store. Remember? But yeah, Project Power, and then Day Shift. And now we have They Clone Tyrone coming up in July, a little over a month, July 21st. It also co-stars John Boyega and Teyonah Parris. And it's basically it's kind of like it's like an homage to like 70s like blaxploitation movies, but also with like weird like sci-fi conspiracy stuff going on, because they like discovered like there's like a weird government lab under the streets, and like they're like cloning John Boyega's character, and they're like maybe like trying to brainwash them with food and like all this other stuff going on. I get like Black Dynamite vibes, but like without like the intentional like terribleness of Black Dynamite, without not like
yeah.
bootlegs in the way and like all that stuff, and like the intentionally like bad like edits. Like this looks like a more like straightforward like actual movie, but like the same kind of like blaxploitation vibes, and like a lot like weird like conspiracies going on.
Yeah, I feel like it didn't have the grit of a exploitation. Like that's why it feels very cinematic and almost like it wanted to be a Get Out,
Yeah.
but or not even Get Out. What's the other one it's like the clone of black people or the clone of like all people.
Oh,
The
Us.
others, us. That's
Us.
it. Like it feels like a us like background a little, just because of the huge government conspiracy of what's going on in this like
Mm-hmm.
bodega. It seems fun.
Well, I also especially remind me of Black Diamond, like the Black Diamond scene where they're trying to unravel like the like conspiracy of like it's where like it's like the malt liquor is like they're like putting stuff in the malt liquor and all that stuff. Like there's like because there's a scene in like this trailer where like everyone's like eating chicken, and then it's like there's some sort of like weird like mind altering drug in it or something possibly.
Yeah. Just something to do with the community that totally is like a shock that the government is involved. I almost got. I mean, have you ever watched I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker?
No.
You gotta watch that. That's
Mhm.
That's another required like funny comedy where like everything kind of derives from the Wayne brothers.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like this every few years. I think you don't see movies like that until like every 12 years. I'm gonna say it sounds kind of weird to say as a statistic, but Black Dynamite was like 12 years ago.
Hmm.
So it's like every 12 years is always like a hilarious black exploitation movie that is more of a tongue-in-cheek wink to whatever's going on current day. And like even after I'm gonna get you sucker was don't drink juice while driving in the
Don't be
hood.
don't be don't be a menace
Don't
to
be a
society
menace. Yeah,
don't be a
while
menace to
drinking your
society while
juice.
drinking your juice in the hood. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that. That's like every 12 years. Between then, it's like what if you take that concept of don't be a menace and then like us and you blend it and then you get this.
Well, I think
I
there's
feel
also
like because all
like well,
what
this weekend like weekend if you're hearing this is like I mean along with like the Flash and stuff is like it's like The Blackening. It's like this like it's like horror parody movie.
yes, yeah. Which I hope does well. I feel like
Mhm.
it's been a while since we had like a good comedy horror that isn't going to try to be like a social message, more like hey, let's just make fun, just have like laughs and make fun of like what the
Tropes.
just more
Yeah.
joking. Yeah, because you can't call us like a comedy.
Yeah.
Some people could, but I mean,
But yeah, they clone Tyrone next month, July 21st. You can check that out when it hits Netflix. And then also, I think actually the same day when that's coming out, you can either stay home and watch, or yeah, stay home and watch They Clone Tyrone, or you can head to the theaters and watch Cobweb, which is a new horror movie that's coming up. It's starring Anthony Starr and Lizzie Kaplan as very creepy gaslighting parents of this kid, who's played by Wade Norman, who's like hearing weird like noises in the walls, and then is having like nightmares. Like Andy Starr and Lizzie Kaplan are like, "Hey, it's not your head, kid. Like, get over it. Like, there's nothing going on." But then like things get like more and more creepy and horrifying. And then like he tries to get help with his teacher, but that doesn't look like it goes that well.
yeah, all that kid did was bring this teacher like into like a slaughterhouse, and
whatever horrific shit Lizzie Kaplan and Anti Star are up to.
okay, so I am thinking the trailer is more of a misdirection where all the supernatural stuff isn't actually happening.
Maybe, yeah.
I could see them doing a twist, but if it is like supernatural parenting, because there's a whole point of them always saying like, hey, like they're great, they're gaslighting him, they're saying you're not crazy, but then it's like, why are you letting your kid go to school still? If what's your plan? Like that part was confusing. Like, are you there for the kid to grow up to get possessed and join like this family of demons? But then it's like, why does he need an education? So that's why I'm. Then it's like, do they need the facade that they're all normal? But then they are normal. Like the parents are acting normal during sort of normal.
Mhm.
But you know what I mean? They don't. They're not the freaky Evil Dead, like Deadite that they are in the the jump scare sequences that we see.
Yeah.
That's why I have so many questions. That's why right away a Deadite is sort of hiding, but it's like they're possessed the body, and then like a possession movie is they don't know that they're possessed, but then these people seem like they know that they're possessed because they're doing everything they can to not have their kid draw his feelings.
I wonder if this is gonna be like a Boy in the Wall movie too, like it's like for like Red Letter Media reference, like
Oh,
it's like our other son, our first son is in the like we've stuck him in the walls, like he's like that Treehouse of Horror, like Hugo, like
yeah, I can see that too, where uh they sort of are really saving him to appease some guy to resurrect another boy. But then again, Why would you send him to school to just blab to anyone about what's going on at home?
Yeah. I have a feeling this could be like this year's like Barbarian or something.
I don't know. I feel like
it's from the producers of Barbarian, so it has that going for it. It's
the
gonna
only
be
thing is if it held back on showing the jump scares, I think it could have. But the
yeah.
fact that I see a lot of the nightmare sequences,
And
that's I'm like,
there's like a skeleton in the garden and stuff. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, oh man, it's blowing its big climax or sort of details. That's why I kind of hope it's misdirections. But the worst thing I could think of is these aren't his real parents. Like
that's also a possibility too. Yeah.
for some weird reason, these demons possess these people, and then they kidnap this kid who don't know that these aren't his parents. Like they kidnap him as a baby, and then they just want see. But then it's like I don't know what their end goal is. Like it sort of doesn't make any sense. Like they're not doing it for money, you know? Are they trying to like take taxpayers' money from public school?
I do appreciate that Anthony Starr is in like full on like Homelander asshole dad mode.
He's got the same haircut, just different color.
Yeah. And Lizzie Kaplan is doing her like Castle Rock like misery like thing.
Yeah, I did notice that. I looked at this and was like, is this Castle Rock? They made a Castle Rock movie?
This is where she went after Castle Rock. She met Homelander and they had a kid.
Some fantasy like fiction story we got going on where what if Homelander gave it up and then settled down, stole a kid, raised them to draw like all these disturbing artwork?
Yeah. But yeah, that's coming to theaters at the end of next month. And then last like movie or TV trailer we got this week was actually during the Ubisoft Forward presentation, which we'll talk about more in a little bit. But we got a new trailer for Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix, which is it's a spin-off reimagining of like the Far Cry Blood Dragon universe, or like basically, but now it seems like it's like just like the entire like Ubisoft universe, because there's like other characters from like other like Ubisoft properties are showing up. There's like a frog assassin from Assassin's Creed, and like
and
I think there's like other references to, like other things like.
Interesting.
But this is from Adi Shankar, who brought us like Castlevania, the Netflix series, and some and like those like the Punisher, Dirty Laundry, all those like bootleg universe stuff.
This is his first legit universe. Oh no, this is his third, because he did
Castlevania.
So that's,
yeah,
it'd be funny if he just kept making bootlegs over and over.
Mm-hmm. And he also said it's gonna be like a love letter to like the '90s, and like anime in '90s, and obviously like Ubisoft, like the Ubisoft properties, and it's set in like an alternate 1992, and it's like Dolph Laserhawk, it gets locked up in a prison, and he has to break out with like a group of like rebels and like take on undercover missions. I do hope we actually get like actual like like Blood Dragon like Rex Power Cult with like Michael Biehn.
I was surprised this wasn't just that.
Yeah, like just like
a Blood Dragon show.
Just like an expanded different like a prequel or like a sequel or like something. But yeah, I mean hopefully Michael Biehn actually shows up in this at some point. Because that'd be weird if you're doing a Blood Dragon thing, but you don't have like actual like the main character of Blood Dragon in it.
Oh, maybe they're saving that for the follow-up if they get it.
Yeah, but apparently this is gonna be a Netflix show. It's gonna come out sometime in the fall this year, so you can look forward to that. And then speaking of Ubisoft stuff, they had because it's basically from like last Thursday or Friday till Monday this week. It was pretty much like would have been E3, even though E3 is basically dead. But it was like Summer Game Fest, and then all the other like companies had like their presentations. Like Microsoft had a presentation, which we could talk about maybe a couple things from that too, if anything jumped out at you, Chris. But Ubisoft wise, I think like, and probably the biggest thing of like most of these presentations was we got the first like trailer and footage for Star Wars Outlaws,
Looks
which
cool.
is coming next year. It's Ubisoft's big open world Star Wars game. You're playing as a smuggler named Kay Vess, who she's like working in like the underworld of Star Wars, like the Pike Syndicate and like the Hutts and all the other like, criminal organizations. And you're like, it looks like multiple planets. Like you can like get in your ship and like launch, take off, and like get in space battles and like end up on another planet. And then there's like a wanted system. Like you can get like wanted by the Empire, or like there's some bounty hunters after you, and then you have to like fight, like lay low to get the heat guys down. And there's like it's like third person action, and you can be like stealthy for a little bit, and then you can like pull out your blaster out and start blasting people. And it looks like it even has like a Red Dead Redemption, like Deadeye system where you can do like a quick draw or like lock onto guys and like do like a slow mo like blaster on them. There seemed like a lot of like Red Dead in there, like the quick draw stuff, and then you can get like wanted, which I mean that's like also like Grand Theft Auto stuff, obviously.
That's
but
a Grand Theft Auto. It's the evolution of the open world where you have like consequences for just being a menace. So Saints Row, GTA. Then you have just I think the quick draw is the new mechanic because you can't quick draw on like anything else.
Yeah, and you also have like a kind of like cat dog like a creature companion
lizard
named Nix.
Creature thing.
Yeah, who can like you can have him do things for you, like turn buttons on or like distract people or attack people. But yeah, I'm super excited. Like this is like definitely like my type of game that I love. It's Star Wars, so it looked pretty awesome. So definitely excited for that next year. And then they also had gameplay in a new trailer for Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, which seems like it's going to be like Avatar Far Cry, like because it's you're playing in like the first person, and you can use like human weapons or Na'vi weapons, and you're playing as like a Na'vi like student or someone that got taken by the RDA and trained, and then put to cryo sleep, and then you wake up like 15 years later, and now it's like you have to basically like rediscover like what it means to be a Na'vi because you were like raised by humans to be like a human soldier.
Is this like after the second movie?
I think you got put like your character in this game gets put in stasis at the end, like at the end of the first Avatar, and now you're like waking up in like Way of Water times. But you're going to like totally different places that you haven't seen any of the movies before, like different regions that like there's like a grasslands region and like this like very like deep woods, like foggy woods area. There's like different Na'vi tribes in each area. It looks pretty good. Like if it's just Far Cry Avatar, then that's like I love Far Cry. So
yeah, but do you love Avatar?
I enjoy Avatar. Way of Water was like visually amazing. So it's coming out on my birthday too. So
nice, but the Avatar games don't exactly.
Well, the last one was not that great.
Which one was that?
Like the one that came out with the first movie, like the third person like action game.
Oh, the only one? No, well,
the only one, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think there was a DS one, but the third one.
Like Xbox, was like Xbox 360 or something.
Yeah, and it's just like it's like Gears of War, but they didn't quite get like the controls right, so it plays kind of wonky.
I just remember seeing like because you can do like melee combat in that, but your character is just like spinning like a maniac through it. It was just like it looks terrible. Like just like the animation is so like choppy and you're just like spin, and like. But yeah, that's coming December 7th this year. Frontiers of Pandora. And there's also a new Prince of Persia coming next in January, like a 2D side-scrolling Prince of Persia game, like a Metrovania where you're like unlock skills to like unlock new parts of the map and lots of like cool-looking combat and stuff. Did you say that at all, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of the new Prince of Persia?
Interesting. It like more Metro, all classic Prince of Persia that definitely is borrowing off the Metrovanian look.
Yeah.
I think like Prince of Persia did first, or did they do it after? Or they copied it. I forget who comes first. The Metroid came first, then Prince of Persia.
Well, I mean, the original Prince of Persias were not like Metrovanias. They were like precision. They were like precision platformers, where it's like you had to be very like deliberate and like. But you weren't like unlocking like you're basically like pressing through screens. You weren't like going back to like different areas like because you got like the key
That's
or whatever. Yeah.
I remember dying a lot in Prince of Persia as a kid because I didn't quite understand precision jumping and fall damage was like everywhere.
And then there's also Assassin's Creed Mirage. Into that at all, Chris?
No, I kind of lost interest in Assassin's Creed games, so it's one of those.
Well, this one's going back to like the like is like back to like the like OG Assassin's Creeds. Like,
yeah. I still want to replay a couple of them. I still have like a save I need to beat on Black Flag. I mean, not Black Flag, like Assassin's Creed Rogue, which is right after Black Flag, but before 3. And I remember playing that and then just getting bored, and then giving up on the whole franchise, and then hearing how everything else sort of falls apart. Like, I actually own Unity, didn't play it. I think it came with my PS4, or I got it as like a buy one get two deal. Then Syndicate seemed interesting. The story did, but then the gameplay was pretty much the same loop until they reinvented it for Origins and then the Viking one. The Viking one sounds cool, but
Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla were like the last 3. They were all like open world RPGs, like more like
that one is like, oh, you got to grind because you can't just rely, like, in Assassin's Creed 1 and 2, you can technically beat the game without grinding so much. Like, you'll have less health and maybe 1 or 2 lack of powerful equipment, but you can still beat the game. And not anymore in this, where it's like, oh, you don't have enough level to like kill this character. Be doing like 1 damage for the whole fight, so it's like you need to grind. So I don't know how I think Mirage is getting rid of that, right? They're going back to just like, oh, you go around assassin, do like assassination, set it up, stealth.
Yeah, they said like combat is like a last resort. Like they really don't want to like just run and fight people. You want to be like very like stealthy and like escape, like get in, take out your guy, and escape.
I think Origins was sort of a mix, and then Odyssey, it was like half and half, where some stages were just there's no stealth, just run in and start stabbing everyone. And then Vikings was, hey, you go on raids. You and your Viking crew are just gonna go raid this like village.
So also, I mean, Xbox also had their big presentation. But anything that jumped out from Xbox that you saw, Chris? Did you see any of it?
I've seen bits. I don't know. I kind of saw like what the hype was after. I've been kind of busy this week on trailers.
Yeah. Well, they showed like 45 minutes of Starfield, the new Bethesda RPG, which everyone was like freaking out about. Which it's basically like Skyrim or Fallout, but like in like space, where you're just like you could travel to like hundreds of worlds and explore space. They also had Clockwork Revolution, which is basically looked like a new like BioShock Infinite, but not from like any of the people that made BioShock Infinite, but definitely like very similar vibes of like like a steampunk, like kind of like throwback like American city, and then there's like time travel. You can go back in time and then you change it, and then it's like now it's darker future, where like different things happen, and you have like you might have like powers on your left hand and like a gun in your right hand, like BioShock style. definitely, and there's like like elevated rails and stuff. So it seems like if you like enjoyed Bioshock Infinite, like definitely Clockwork Revolution is going to be up your alley. They had a cinematic trailer for the new Fable. No gameplay, just like kind of like a mood trailer. Like Richard Ayoade was in it. He's like a giant, and there's a character who like runs around like fighting him at the end of the trailer. He's like complaining about heroes and how annoying they are.
Well, that's cool. He's getting into more voice acting roles. I heard that like some people were saying that it just like, oh, why is the IT crowd in this?
Cyberpunk 2077 is getting like a big DLC, which apparently is gonna possibly like, change a bunch of like the gameplay stuff and like maybe fix some things. maybe make it actually like the game that it should have been from the beginning of when it released.
Huh.
And Idris Elba's co-starring it now, along with Keanu's coming back.
Did you play it yet?
I haven't played it yet. No. I'm assuming it's probably mostly fine now because it's been like 2 years or whatever. There's probably been multiple patches to fix whatever was going on with it.
Yeah, hopefully they ironed out a lot.
And also, if he has PS5, so I would assume I could like play it in a reasonable fashion, not like base PS4. People were like, it's blowing. It's like my PS4 is on fire. Like, why is there smoke coming out of my PS4 or my Xbox 360 or whatever, or Xbox One I'm playing it on?
I think the Xbox was like unplayable. I mean, PS4 was even
those like base at the time, I guess current gen systems were like, yeah, you basically unplayable. Like base PS4, base Xbox One was like you could like just like frame rate of like 10, like just like super janky. But yeah, tons of game and stuff coming up in the next this year and then to next year. Apparently this fall is gonna be like there's like huge games launching on like basically at the same day. It's like Starfield and like Baldur's Gate are launching at the same day and stuff, and within like 2 days of each other. It's gonna be a crazy like fall season for games. So other news, we got some news out of the CW. So Superman Lois was renewed for a 4th season, a 10-episode 4th season, which makes it seem like maybe that's gonna be like the last one if they're giving it only like a limited season. And they canceled Gotham Knights, which I think should surprise no one because I have not heard anyone even who like watched it or like anything like it just like was like playing just it's like a movie that was like playing in like empty theaters. Like who was even watching Gotham Knights? Probably no one.
I haven't seen like live TV commercials for it, so I don't even know how they were they marketed it like before, and they heard the backlash, and then they just stopped. And then I was like, is this still going on? And then yeah, I assumed it was canceled earlier, but they finally said, yeah, no, this is super expensive for a show no one asked for.
Yeah. Well, expensive is like the key word for Superman Lois because they're getting significant budget cuts, which means pretty much most of the cast, besides like the main four, the main like Kent family, and are gone, or they're gonna be like drop down like guest stars next year. They're not gonna be like regular cast members. And then Michael Kulitz, who was on Walking Dead, he's gonna be introduced I think next week as the new Lex Luthor. He's gonna be a regular next season, so it's gonna be basically like the main Kent family, and then Lex Luthor are gonna be the main characters, and then like everyone else is gonna be maybe guest stars, maybe they're gone forever. Who knows? Like, because you could tell like if you watch like an episode of, like Superman Lois and you watch like an episode of like, The Flash, like the budget, I don't know what the budget was like for like Superman Lois like currently, but like it seemed like it was like way higher than like other Arrowverse shows. Like it actually had like looked like more like cinematic, and it had like actual like special effects and not like just like whatever was going on with like other shows in the Arrowverse. Like late period The Flash was just like what was the budget for this? Like $100? Like,
You can see the dip in quality then.
yeah. And there's also a question too, because like the CW is obviously owned by a new, like Nexstar owns them now, because that was part of like the like crazy like Warner Brothers Discovery merger. They sold like Warner Brothers sold their like stake in like the CW to like Nexstar, and then Nexstar was like, well, Superman Lois is a good show, but we don't get any money from it, but like we don't, like, it goes to HBO Max or Max for streaming, and we don't get any of that money. So like we don't know. They were like, we don't know if we want to renew it if we're not gonna like make any money off of it, like for like other things besides like live television. But yeah, apparently they're like I guess the ratings are enough to like have them keep it going, just like slash the budget, slash the episode count. Hopefully it doesn't affect the effects. And like just like next season, just like this like super terrible, like everything's like a stage, like everything's just like. But I guess we'll see. And then last bit of news for this week is that we got some news about the upcoming Knuckles Paramount Plus show, which is obviously a spin-off of the Sonic movies. Idris Elba is coming back to voice Knuckles. And bunch of cast members got added this week. Carrie Elways is gonna be on Knuckles. Christopher Lloyd, Stockard Channing,
Really?
Paul Scheer, Rob Hubel are all gonna be on Knuckles, and they previously cast Adam Pally and Edie Patterson are also gonna be on there. So they're assembling a pretty crazy crazy cast for this Knuckles show. Which apparently it's gonna be like Adam Pally's character from like the Sonic movies, Wade. Like it's gonna be like Knuckles like training him to be like a hero, or like taking him like you're my apprentice now. He's trying to train him into like becoming like a Kendo warrior.
I have not seen Sonic 2 yet, but I think I will have to soon.
Sonic, yeah, I mean both those Sonic movies were like way better than they should have been. Like you're like I don't know if either of them are as good as like the Super Mario Bros movie, but like they're both like super fun. Yeah, and 2 is definitely like much more like, if you wanted like more like Sonic stuff, there's like way more Sonic stuff in it, of like they're going to like crazy temples, and like Jim Carrey's basically like full on just like the video game Eggman, with even he has like the egg, like the flying egg machine like vehicle, and then yeah, like lots more of like characters from like the games, like like Knuckles and Tails are in there now. Yeah, definitely we're checking out Sonic 2, which I think is also on Paramount Plus. If you have Paramount Plus, you can check it out there. And then this Knuckles show is going to be I don't think it's a release date yet, but I think it's coming up like either like late this year or sometime next year. And then Sonic 3 is supposed to be out I think December next year. So yeah, the expanded Sonic verse is coming.
That's
And
cool.
that's it for news this week. So I can jump into show and tell. And Chris, you and I both watched for this month's commentary, which will be up I think next week on the site, is Young Indiana Jones and the Mystery of the Blues.
Oh yeah.
Which was an episode of season 2 of the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, the strange ABC like prequel series to Indiana Jones, to try to keep like the franchise going after Last Crusade. They're like, we need more Indiana Jones stuff. I don't know, make him a kid, like have him meet like every important person of like the 20th century. But yeah, the big thing about Mr. the Blues, which probably like one of the main reasons we watched it, was that is the only episode that Harrison Ford appears on. He does not appear in any other episodes, and there's bookends of him on some sort of like adventure with like one of his Native American friends, and then they're getting chased by gangsters or whoever, and then he like they're hiding in like a cabin, and he finds like a saxophone. He's like, oh man, this reminds me of the time I was playing the blues in Chicago. Like, and then we get this crazy flashback to like his time in Chicago.
Yeah, that Chicago time was wild.
I think even more so than like other like because like I mean all these episodes are like if you read the descriptions like it's all like crazy of like who he's running into and like what he's doing. For like Indiana Jones meets like literally every famous person in history. For like from like
and he
19
does not bother to tell people, or he doesn't bother to ever call them for favors.
Yeah, it never comes up. He never mentions like, oh yeah, I know like Pablo Picasso or like Harry Houdini or like
I play jazz with like famous musicians. Like,
yeah,
tells no one this. Maybe it's just years of meeting famous people. You stop talking to people.
Yeah, it's like he was instrumental in like the like World War I peace accords being signed. Like,
but he like helped fund the peace.
He's like a translator for like the peace talks or something. But yeah, so Mr. Blues, it's Chicago. It's like 1920, and Indy's it's post World War I. So when Indy's already fought in World War One and done all of his crazy World War I adventures, and then he is going to the University of Chicago, and his roommate is Elliot Ness, who is like a dork of the highest degree. It's like just like wearing like dorky sweaters and like dorky outfits and just being like, shut Indy, I'm trying to study. Like,
yeah, Elliot Ness is a giant nerd, even for the standard of when this is happening.
Yeah. And then Indy's working as like a waiter at like a jazz club, and he's like super into jazz. And then he like eventually befriends Sidney Bechet, who's like one of the best jazz musicians in history. like jazz clarinet, like one of the like arguably the greatest jazz clarinetist in like in music history. And but it also like meets like does he mean like he meets like Louis Armstrong, and then like crap, who was Keith David playing like, well, Satchmo was Louis Armstrong, but like Keith David was playing like
another musician,
another like huge like jazz person. And yeah, so and then he's hanging out. He's trying to learn the jazz, and he like Sidney gives him like a soprano saxophone, which is like a baby saxophone, and he's trying to play it, and just like, man, you don't understand the jazz, man. You gotta feel the jazz. That's like the first like hour of this movie, just like them just like being like, oh, you don't feel the jazz yet, man, kid. You don't feel the jazz yet, Jonesy. Like,
yeah, it is like, oh, you think you know, you don't know, and that happens for the first hour.
Yeah. Then it's like in the last half hour is like, oh, now it's a murder mystery.
Yeah, then it like reads around, and the murder mystery angle is weird because we had bets that it would be someone else.
Yes.
And it wasn't. It just completely left field.
Mm-hmm. And then they bring Ernest Hemingway in, who Indy also knows, is like friends with, and so it's like it's Indy, Elliot Ness, and Ernest Hemingway trying to solve this like murder.
Yeah, it's such a weird team up because initially their dynamic doesn't seem great, but then they really do become a fun team.
Yeah. Like they all have like a particular skill that they could use. Like Elliot is like friends with like dirty pathologists, so he can get like crime scene photos and like autopsy stuff, and then Ernest Hemingway is all his like news contacts, and like Indy works at the place where the murder happens, and he can get like all that like the insider info. It's also funny too because that's like the part where it's like, oh yeah, this is like an Indiana Jones thing. We need to have like a big action set piece, so they like shoehorn in this like big like warehouse fight at the end of the episode.
It doesn't, yeah, it feels out of place because, not to spoil much, but ultimately it it doesn't lead to anything. Like none of that actually matters to what else is going on.
Yeah. And they also they don't solve anything. There's like because it's like spoilers for history, but like Al Capone is involved and he doesn't get arrested or go to jail at this time. So it's like, well, I guess we can't do anything against like the corruption of Chicago. Like,
yeah, it ends on such a downer note that I get it. That's the blues. Like you're not supposed to be satisfied.
That's how he learns the blues finally, which is different from jazz. But yeah, it was a pretty like I don't think either of us had ever seen like a full like episode of Indiana Jones. So this is like a interesting like jumping in point. We're just like, oh, this is the show? Okay. And it's also we were commenting too, like it some of it looks like really good, like really like cinematic, and then you like, oh, this is like this like looks like an Indiana Jones movie or like product, and then like some of it's just like, oh man, this is 90s as 90s like cheap TV looking. Like,
oh, it dips. It starts out strong.
I feel like they spent all their money on those like 10 minutes, like 5 minutes of Harrison Ford footage, like that opening car chase, and then like the like ending, and then it's like, well, we spent all that, we can't afford realistic looking like elevated trains. We gotta put shitty looking elevated trains in this episode now.
It dips. It violently dips in quality, and it's like jarring because the opening is like one small sequence from a regular Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
And then the background settings and all the extras are really extravagant, like especially the clubs. Like it looks full. Yeah. It looks like it's popping.
Well, some of them look good. It's like some of the as the episode goes on, I feel like the clubs just like get gradually like worse. So it's like,
yes.
and then it's like one of the last, like it's just like they're just in like a dark set with just like 5 people in the background or something, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the club, quote unquote.
Yeah, the club looks like a basement cellar.
Yeah.
And not in a hipster way, in a very industrial look that is a soundstage, like a corner of a soundstage that they dust up, and that's the club.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do love that. There's that scene where like Indy's trying to play jazz at like the stuffy like frat party, and he has like a Back to the Future moment where he's just like, there's like, you playing that jazz. Get off this is a respectable club, mister. Like, get off the stage. Like,
yeah, it's
we don't want none of that Hepcat stuff in here. Like,
yeah, it's very awkward and like white people cringe. Where
yes,
like by today's standard, it's as if he like whipped out his junk and was just like, everyone, look at this. All he did was play slightly more rhythm than what was going on, and
yeah.
The reactions on everyone's face is like utterly like disbelief, like, oh my god,
how dare you?
Like, yeah. Wait a minute, when did everyone in this party suddenly understand music?
Mm-hmm.
Like to such a degree where like, no, we don't like that. We like slow, like 3/4 beat. It's like you might as well be playing Beethoven at this party.
It's just I love how much like Indy's such a just a jazz fanboy. I'm just like, oh yeah, I heard when I was a kid, I heard all of it. I lived in New Orleans for like a while. I heard all the jazzmen, and I loved jazzmen. All the jazzmen.
It is cool that like he basically goes through a hazing with the jazz band, and then finally they accept him as one of his own. There is a growth about Indy being a musician that does not like come very naturally. It really builds.
Yeah,
it feels like years went by in this episode.
Well, yeah, there's like a montage of like Indy like learning the jazz, like learning what the jazz is all about. Like,
and it felt like we were watching a whole saga, but it, coming to the realization that, oh, they are just this could be just 1 week or something, like
yeah,
there's no how time moved really weird.
Mm-hmm.
even when the murder happens, it seemed like the next day it was cleared up. Like in the sense that everyone moved on, they did the funeral, they're doing whatever, like
Oh, I think we mentioned too. Like, Indy also has like no PTSD from World War One. Like, he is so happy-go-lucky. Of just like, yeah, I'm a waiter at a jazz club and I'm in college. This is awesome. But then he has a conversation with like a fellow World War One veteran of like, how many guys you kill? He's like, I killed some people. It's like, I killed some people too. It's just like, what?
Yeah, it really sucks the air out of the room. On top of the
because it's
segregation issue that happens.
Yeah, well, because Indy was in the trenches for like at least an episode. Like he was in like the front lines of like World War One. Like he was seeing like the horrible 1917 shit going on, and then it's like because he's just like now he's home. He's like, I'm a college kid. I'm a waiter. Like this is fun. I'm playing my saxophone. Like just like wow. Indy was not part of the lost generation. And also, jazz just never came up again. Like, that's my only wish after seeing this is like if like in like Raiders of the Lost Ark or something, like when he just like whips out like a saxophone or something, starts playing it. Just like, oh man, I gotta chill out and play my saxophone for a little bit. Like,
yeah, he plays it as if it's like therapy, and then I guess after this incident of him mastering the blues, he never plays it again.
Well, I guess he rediscovers it in 1950 according to this episode, and then so like. I guess like in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull or like now Dial of Destiny, he should be like maybe like back acquainted with jazz. That'd be a fun Easter egg in like Dial of Destiny if he's like he whips out a saxophone. It's like, hey, I'm playing my saxophone. Leave me alone. Like I gotta play the jazz.
My sad time.
Yeah. But yeah, check out the commentary will be up next week. It's on Disney Plus. You can stream it along with us. And speaking of Disney Plus, I think you saw some other things on Disney Plus, Chris.
Yeah, I watched all of Electric Mayhem.
Muppets Mayhem. Yep.
Which I like gave the first episode a shot, and then I just ended up loving it and watching all of it this weekend.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think I talked about it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, there's an amazing like energy about it, and like the message is really cool. And then say what you will about Sandra Singh, but she like works in this environment as playing like sort of the semi-straight person during this, like
Lily Singh.
Lily Singh, that's it.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Lily Singh. So she does pretty good. So Lily Singh, I was like genuinely surprised how well like I like her character. I like her character up until the last 2 episodes, where she kind of does like a 180 and just breaks up with like her boyfriend. And it's like not earned at all. Did you get that way? Because I was like, this is a weird twist.
Where it's like, spoilers, it's like she like ends up like back with like Andrew's home, and then was like, actually, you know what? No, I'm not gonna like. I'm gonna travel with like Electric Mayhem because that's like that's my true family or whatever.
You can do both. You can have a like you didn't have to break him up.
I thought the twist like it was actually helpful and not like I mean there's a little bit of like him and like Taj Mahal like competing with each other during like the Kevin Smith like documentary episode.
But that makes sense because
he was like Anders was like legitimately helpful for like a lot of it. Like
he seemed kind of like scuzzy, but that's the misdirect, so I didn't mind that. And then you realize how much he's like actually like trying to be a better person.
They were setting him up to be like the evil like 80s like record or like businessman or something. He's like, I bought the rights to the Mayhem and I own them now. Like
and you realize he genuinely just cares for her.
Yeah.
So when she breaks up, I was kind of mad. I was like, this feels very unearned. And then the fact that like they break up and he's like, cool, all right, I gotta go. Like, and then I'm like, he's gonna have like a breakdown. Like he's gonna go close that door, have a mental breakdown, and then be like, time for revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Like you made a supervillain.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that whole arc that I just didn't care for in that part, but everything else about the Electric Mayhem was amazing.
Well, I just love that. I just love it as like yeah, you really got to focus on like them because they've been around, but they usually they only get like you get like one like joke or like they're in like one scene for like the movies or like the other shows, and then this one it's like you just really could like dig in and like they all have, like you get to like figure out like all their different personalities and like all their different like quirks and
their
everything, and
emotions and their
yeah,
depth, like a lot of depth, more than I thought. But yeah, the message was beautiful. Like a lot of the hopefulness, the like what they focus on in life, and the message that they have is like way like kind of inspiring, especially when they meet celebrities and they're very chill about it. And it's like if you think about how long the Muppets have been around, like they're definitely um like very not huge importance in music, but like they are a kind of like time capsule of just or like a record of how like the music has changed, but the message hasn't,
yeah.
like over the years.
Well, that's also like one of my favorite, like one of the best jokes. It's just like they know everyone, and they're so chill. They just don't like bring it up or mention it or like
Yeah.
show like actively like chase like they know like they know like Steve Aoki and like like Dead Mouse and like Morgan Freeman and like all these other people. It's just like but there's like, oh right, yeah, we know him. Yeah, we're friends. Like
The Kevin Smith episode was fantastic for that because it's not even just the like we knew musicians and I thought it would be all like musician guests of the day.
yeah.
It was more like all these famous people who want to be in a Muppets thing, and it's like they're not playing a character, they're still them, and it still flows with the original Muppets idea of having celebrities be celebrities.
Yeah.
The I really hope the show gets a second season, or if they explore other kind of Muppet related properties, because like both you and I are both like fans of the Muppets.
Yeah,
We'll definitely.
I would definitely be up for like more like some of the more obscure Muppets, like or like a different group than we've seen before, or like get like a show or something. Because that was like I think I mentioned, but like that was like the fun of like Muppets Haunted Mansion was like it was like the stars were like Gonzo, Pepe, and Rizzo, so it's like that trio. Um, Instead of like like the main like Kermit, Fozzie, Miss Piggy, and they were like, obviously in that in supporting roles, but like it was like Gonzo was the main character.
Yeah, something
And,
different.
and there's like I mean there's so many like crazy obscure Muppets.
Yeah, they can pull from so many, and it
I mean
shows that.
they have been like Uncle Deadly's been getting like a lot of like since like the Muppets like the like ABC show, like he's been getting like a lot of like airtime again. And they turned him into like the Muppets like fashion designer or like costumer.
Is he still in the other things?
He's
I'm still trying to finish the Muppets ABC.
he's in Muppets Now, which is like the like that was like the one that was the show before Muppets Mayhem, and that was like a lot of like it was like a sketch show basically, where it was kind of like Scooter was like it was like he was hosting like online digital shows, and it was like so like Pepe had like a game show, and like Swedish Chef had like a cooking show, and so like every episode would have like 3 or 4 of those segments like in each of them. And that had a bunch of like kind of like random Muppets showing up, and then also like a lot of guest stars. But like Uncle Dudley usually showed up because like Miss Piggy had like a kind of like a talk show lifestyle show, and Uncle Dudley would like be her like assistant basically in all those.
That was good. I didn't mind that. That was like fun about that Muppet show.
Yeah. And Muppets Now is definitely worth watching just for like Pepe's game show because it's so ridiculous and random. Where like Scooter has these like elaborate rules, and Pepe's just like he just gives people like random points and comes up with like random games. Like he'll just like throughout the entire concept of the episode, just like they like pick a number. They're like 5. And they're like 100 points, yeah. Like, and Scooter's just like what? I came up with like a 30-minute long game. But yeah, they would like Disney Plus. They've been doing like most of their recent Muppet stuff has been pretty great. So hopefully they keep that up for any future Muppet stuff. And then anything else, Chris?
I watched 4 episodes of American Born Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on a comic that's now streaming on Disney Plus. This show, I think all episodes, the first season's on. Have you ever heard of the show before?
I've seen like trailers and stuff where I haven't watched it yet. And I also like it's also just like pretty much everyone from like like everything everywhere all at once is like the entire cast is back for this.
Yeah. So American Born Chinese is about the son of the Monkey King who comes to Earth in hopes to find a mystical fourth scroll of the teaching of Buddha.
Mm-hmm.
And it's based on the legend of the Journey to the West, which was when the Monkey King, before he became the Monkey King, went on a journey to discover the 3 scrolls of Buddha and like these ultimate like powers of wisdom scrolls that was like containing the secrets of the universe, one of those kind of deals. And then his son, the son of the Monkey King, hold on, let me try to find these names and not butcher the hell out of them. Wow, they really hide the guy's name. Which one is it? Am I trying to find? Yeah, Jimmy Liu. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he doesn't really have an IMDb. Yeah, he plays Win Chang. He is the son of the Monkey King, Su Wong. And the first episode is super cringy. It's one of those coming of age things where almost every character is awkward and has low self-esteem, and they beat you over the head over it. So it's really like a hard entry point because Wei Chen is confident, but he's not confident about his mission, about trying to find this fourth scroll until he meets Jin Wang, who is a 10th grader in high school who, you know, is kind of geeky, but like sporty, and he doesn't quite know how to fit in between the 2 hobbies. But the show's written in a way where it feels like it's the 90s. Like his parents act like it's 2000 or like 1980. Like it's very like it feels like genuine in certain degrees, but like almost to a point where you can't make characters like this too much because unless like cause his parents have been in the country since the 80s, but like as young people, so they grew up. But then there's certain like character models and then the way they talk, stereotypical stuff that doesn't quite make sense to an age where there's cell phones. You know, like I'm like, what? Like his dad dresses like he's a nerd from the 90s. And I'm like, what is going on? Like this doesn't make sense. He's supposed, and I'm doing the math in my head. I'm like, he's supposed to be like 40, you know, like 45 maybe. And I'm like, he's dressed as like a 6-year-old, like, I don't know, car salesman. And I'm like, what? So it's a little distracting, especially when the Chinese stuff that happens. It makes sense. It's relatable. Being kind of like like not quite know where to fit in kind of moment. But it's like the benefit of being a nerd in today's society is that like everyone's a nerd. Like nerdom is popular, but for some weird reason, it's treated as if like, no, like we still have to be hush about this. Like as long as you don't make it obsessive, and he's not like an obsessive nerd. He's just like casually likes comics and anime and stuff. And it's not like, oh God, like they'll find out. It's like, dude, you also play a sport. Like, you know, like you're also a semi jock. This doesn't make any sense for you to be this, like, I don't know, like deep seated self hate.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that's the point. Like, it's like, what if he's like, he's trying to be like the Peter Parker type archetype where he's like reluctant to be pulled into this kind of world. But then he's got a magical friend, Wei Chen, who just like is slowly trying to introduce them that there's all these mystical things happening, and he's just like, "Whoa, I don't want to be part of this because like this is so much in my mind." And it's like at certain points in the episode, you're like, "Oh no, like you're missing out the journey." But then at least not to spoil so much, but at least halfway point, it makes sense where it's like, no, like you have nothing to do with this. Like Destiny hasn't intervened yet where it's like you need to help the son of the Monkey King. Besides this kid who hasn't really shown his full potential yet, just sort of like I'm like not from here, and you're like, oh, okay, I'll help you, but like you gradually learn to like understand everyone's background. But if you eliminate sort of what we know as the audience and you just watch it from his perspective only, from like his just view, it's like, no, don't trust a stranger you met for 2 weeks. This is how you get kidnapped and like lose organs. So there's like a funniness to it that like it makes sense when you read it in a comic or read it like watch it as a whole overall story where you follow certain characters. But if you solely just watch the one portion and you cut out everything else around him, you're like, no, don't follow this crazy person. Like you've got good instincts, kid. Like this isn't something you have to do. So I'm enjoying it. It's trying to be a lot of things where it's trying to be a one of those like feel good coming of age movies, but now like a TV show where everyone's kind of going through a whole growth in their life because they hit a struggle. It's trying to be like a superhero show too, and it's trying to be, and then at times, which is hilarious because I did not expect this, it's trying to be like a 70s exploitation like kung fu movie.
Okay.
And it comes out of nowhere, and it's
like a Shaw Brothers or something.
Yes, like not or like an Americanized version of it because it's not quite there. They do this intro that is I'm not sure how I don't know if the original comic did it, but there is a point where they kind of reintroduce like another perspective of the show, and it's done in like 70s like kung fu font, and then they do like a whole intro sequence with credits, and you're like, what the hell's going on? Like it comes out and it like shakes up the episode, and that's why I'm like, oh, okay, actually I don't mind that. Like before that, like you it's either you love it or hate it, but then by then if you're in this far, like it's just sort of like, okay, hey, we got over that hump. Let's just do what we want, like visually and then like tonally. So like I said, that takes up a lot of the episode arc, but if you remove that, you're like, yeah, like again, if you're following the main one, if you're following the audience relatable main character, you're like, yeah, you weren't there to witness half the shit, so this doesn't make any sense to you. You know what I mean? Like you don't. This is like the like no one's explaining to catch you up yet, so it makes sense in the show where he's like really hesitant, and he already has a problem about trust and like self-esteem, so this just compiles it. So it's like, let's just say it's like that cringe, but like you got to keep watching it and hope it gets better, and it does. There's certain parts that like you can forgive some of the acting or forgive some of the like weird tonal shifts because it's like, yeah, like it's trying to like do a lot of things at once, and it's the modern day, so you can't just be a simple story. It's trying to cram so many elements at once and has no time to focus in on it because like magic's real, you know what I mean? Like it's trying to have like social issues. It's trying to do like modern day what it's like being a teen. And maybe I can't relate on that part so much because it's been a while since we've been teens. But there is a element of, hey, yeah, like this is what it's like being kind of like that guy who's really into, movies or anime or something like that. And then not everyone getting it. But again, what he's into is modern day pop. So it's not like he's into something super retro unknown that like the internet it's not gonna explain it. It's like, that's why I'm like, it's weird that like some of his friends aren't like getting what he's talking about. Or they just refuse to Google what he's talking about later and not just like, oh, he didn't explain the whole arc right in front of these people, so they're not interested. As I was like, this is a weird world, but it totally makes sense where they have to limit it because of just how modern day is so fast moving with information. Because even when he's got this new school partner, they don't explain how the son of the Monkey King is able to just attend high school. There's no like, oh, he did magic, he tricked someone. It's just, hey, I just showed up, and it's like, oh, you just arrived and you got assigned and there's no one did paperwork or fact checking? Oh, okay. Like you have to, there's a lot of suspend your belief here. But, I say give it a shot. It's definitely, if you're in that, if you think it's going to be everything all at once in the beginning, you have to earn that. That is something like 3 episodes in. There might be there's always like a mandatory fight sequence at the end to sort of wake you up from everything else, but like it's not that like visual overload or crazy concepts. It's pretty straightforward. I like it because as someone who like grew up watching some of the Journey of the West adaptations or Dragon Ball Z, it's in that family, like or Dragon Ball. So it's in that family of like, you know, superheroes or super powered people doing something and sort of involving people when they don't want to be involved. So, you know, very classic Asian drama art that
Mhm.
translates really well. And then the fact that this is on a Disney Channel thing is pretty amazing. So I get like I respect where this is coming from, but I'm also a little biased. So like, you know, I'm adding another 10% of like recommendation.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's not for everyone. I could see that, and you know, it's fine because I do admit the first two episodes are awkward entry to come into. You sort of just start yelling at the characters on your TV. But yeah, that's it for me. What about you, Zach?
So I watched a couple of movies that came out earlier this year. Finally got around to them. So I finally saw Renfield, which is on Peacock now. Which I think you saw that when it came out, Chris.
Yeah, Renfield.
And I thought it was a ton of fun. Um, like just a great, yeah, Nicolas Cage is great as Dracula, like, and just a great take on it. Just like this like bullying, like manipulative, like it definitely leans like the like the codependent, like there's like Renfield's is like a codependency like support group, and they really lean into that like all the like kind of like gaslighting, abusive kind of like stuff that they're talking about in that group, and then Dracula's like embodying it, and then Nicolas Cage is like going full Cage, just like
Oh
as
yeah,
Dracula.
some of the best just dialogue, crazy scene eating you see, and it's like very calm, you know, even for the supernaturalness, but funny.
Yeah. And then also like I think but I don't think a lot of people were expecting. I mean, I think it was in the trailer, but like definitely like you watch it, you're like, oh wow, this is crazy. But like the like action in it is like there's like some crazy like just super over the top, like super violent, crazy action. And
Well,
I
it
think
is in
yeah,
the middle and certain in like the other second big fight, but did you agree? Do you agree that like the third fight that's like the big showdown is kind of toned down?
they kind of yeah, well they kind of like I don't know if it's just because like they have like they introduced like oh
Super
like
other, yeah.
Dracula like gave like a dozen like gangsters, including like Ben Schwartz, like Renfield powers now. So then they're all like
Well, but him
equal.
fighting
Like
Ben Schwartz makes sense, but then there are other people who are also vampires, and then I felt like it felt like a Power Ranger fight instead of some sort of bloodbath. I figured he was gonna rip someone's arm off, use it as a weapon, or like punch through someone's chest, and then like
yeah,
just be like a guy who has a gaping hole in him. Like I thought it'd be that.
yeah, that was definitely more in like the first two like big action sequences, like that like the restaurant fight, and then like the like fight in like the apartment like
Yeah.
courtyard.
The courtyard part was hilarious because it just like they use slow mo in such a funny way.
Yeah.
Especially when like I think near the end where he just explodes a guy while riding him down.
Well, he there's a guy like hanging half off like a railing, and then like Renfield like, just jumps onto him and like rips him in half, and like lances like half of his body onto like the car below them. And then like he's and then like for most of that fight he's using like a guy's arms as like nunchucks, basically,
Yeah.
just like beating people with
But
it.
that's what I'm saying. Like, can I imagine that on everyone's superpowered? So now it's like the guys he's fighting can lose a limb and still fight and do all these other things.
Yeah.
I thought it was
It,
gonna ramp up.
yeah, it probably could have been a little better if they had like some like it was like Ben Schwartz was like the only other like equal to Renfield, but then like there's like a bunch of like regular goons too, and so like Renfield could just like blow through those guys on his way to like Ben Schwartz maybe.
Well, the only people who fought Aquafina were regular people because that's how she
Yeah.
was able to kill one or two guys that weren't bit.
Hmm.
So like I say, like I get they're trying to find a balance, but it's like they were storming that building, so those guys had all the time to prepare, I guess. Like they've called them out to come to do this. So when you get more men, when you bite more people,
Yeah. I think I think you mentioned it when you talked about it, Chris, like a couple months ago, but like I think like I think if you said this I agree with it, but like the whole like crime thing, it's fine, but like the movie probably didn't even need it. Like it could have just been like all the like Renfield Dracula like relationship stuff, or just like them
Yeah,
just like
the
constantly.
crime boss comes
It
in
could
and you're like just MacGuffin character.
Yeah, it could have been like a weird like take on like a romantic comedy or something where it's just like, oh, like Renfield's trying to get out of this like abusive relationship, and then like Dracula keeps like doing like is like doing like being nice in one scene, like trying to bring him back, and but then you could have like the Ben Schwartz character be like, oh, this is my new Renfield, I don't need you anymore.
Yeah, and he wants to get rid of you, and
Yeah.
he's trying to eliminate you and your thing because he's trying to like win my favor. Like there is a slightly better pacing movie because you can remove the drug part because I guess again the only reason why the drug part comes in is so he can fight the police, like the corrupt police force that is hilariously corrupt. So I don't know what the hell like New Orleans is.
Like everyone but Aquafina is like a corrupt cop.
Yeah, like a hilarious like corruption that is happening in that department. But I think that's the point, so you don't feel bad for a lot of them getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the only logical reason. But like I get it, I get why they did it to make it more than a love story because it is. It's a little bit more than a regular love story. But what'd you think about the tie-in to the like Bela Lugosi Dracula?
Oh, that's all great. Like just seeing Nicolas Cage just like 30s Bela Lugosi like Dracula is like, and like inserting both of them into like that like footage was great. I wish it was like
very cool. I wish I kind of want to see a version of them in it now too. Not to take away from Bela Lugosi, but just sort of like more. I want to see more of this.
I wish there was like if they had like done a little bit more of like other Dracula stuff. Like I would love to see like Nicolas Cage is like Gary Oldman Dracula or something like.
Oh, sort of like a reference to that.
Yeah, just like that. Like that's like them through like the years of like just like show like different the other different versions or something.
Yeah. Again, if it's been a little bit more time setting up the beginning where Renfield has done all these missions, done all these like tasks, and pleased his master for different generations of vampire hunters and like just surviving the trends or whatnot. I would have loved that too. And then you see him finally kind of be like, I'm done. But they really try to focus on Renfield like discovering therapy and getting to a like healthy position where he can recognize like he's not happy, and then Aquafina can make him happy. But I do like that he doesn't do it really for her. Like it's more like for him.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's there to save her sister, who is another like MacGuffin character. You can eliminate that.
Mm-hmm. Who like works for the FBI, but like works out of the police station or something, or like.
Well, she's there to take down the mob boss.
Yeah.
But you see, like that's the reason for the mob bosses.
Who killed their father?
I guess, yeah. Like that was because he was a good cop and the
only good cop.
Yeah, he was the other only good cop among all the corrupt people. Mm-hmm. But I do like her introduction. I do like how like Ben Schwartz throws like a brick of cocaine at her.
Uh-huh.
And then you see that she wants to like really be good at her job. So they do a good job like introducing her because she wants to be like this like John McClane rogue cop, but she is sort of like honor bound to not be.
I feel like they could have done a little bit more with like the idea of like Renfield's gonna like he's at the support group for himself. But he's also like there to like figure out like who he can like feed the Dracula. That's not like it's like a douchebag asshole. Like, so he doesn't feel bad about it. And then but then he just does that like once. Like he goes to those guys that like stole the drugs, and then like he never like goes after any of the other people that like the guys everyone was talking about the group anymore. That could have been the whole that could have been like most of the premise of the movie. Just like Renfield is trying to like like help this group, and then just like screwing it up, or like horribly murdering these people, like the people that like they're like it's like, oh, my dad is like a codependent, like I have a bad relationship with him, and then like Renfield goes like kill the dad or like something, and then something goes like wackily horribly bad with that or something.
Well, it didn't lean too hard into dark comedy. Like the what you're describing of like kind of like a darker comedy would be what we want, because we were used to just like it played it safe, like it played it very safe with the concept of him doing this, but it's supposed to imply that he's been doing this for years, and then
Yeah.
he finally like listened to the therapy like in this group at this city, so he got like a conscious from it now, and like he had enough, but it's like that probably happened. It's a lot of like you sort of fill in the blanks yourself, but I would have loved like a flashback, a sequence, a little more show.
Yeah.
I understand. But did you get the humor of like what we do in the shadow, like hints of it in this?
I mean, hints of it. I definitely think they could have leaned like I mean, what we do in the shadows is definitely better than this. I don't think there's any question. But like, I mean, I think it's mostly that Nicolas Cage has like most of like the funny like all of his like just like Dracula like one-liners, like his like trying to manipulate Renfield and stuff. Like the scene when he goes to like Renfield's new apartment and like Renfield's trying to use like the self-help book as like a Bible basically against him.
Yep. That part was good, especially when he's like an ex. Like Nick Cage has like a jealous ex. Like like the dynamic between them is really good.
Yeah.
It just like they use it sparingly, and I wish like they leaned it in more.
Yeah, like they definitely could have like amped like the ratio of like the Dracula Renfield relationship compared to like the like crime action stuff. You probably could like adjust the ratio a little bit more and have it like more of like the Dracula Renfield relationship and like less of like the crime action stuff, and then it probably would have been like a little bit more like interesting and like funny and stuff. But I mean, it's like the action's fun. Like Nicolas Hoult and Nicolas Cage are great. Like it's a super fun movie. If you haven't seen it, like, it's on Peacock. I mean, yeah
it's
if you ever check
highly
it out, Peacock.
recommendable, because I feel like this movie just suffered from bad marketing, and then like not targeting the right people. Because I think when the first trailer came out for Renfield, it looked like a romantic comedy because of like Aquafina and Nick. But then it started leading in being, oh, by the way, this is like a sequel to like the Bela Lugosi Dracula, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. But by then it was like the theatrical run was out.
And it also has this like splat, like just gallons of blood splattering everywhere. Like.
So I just feel like that was just on them for doing it. But I think, on DVD releases and sort of like retrospects, it's gonna be more favorable.
Yeah, this might become a cult classic, like a Nicolas Cage like cult classic of like, oh man, remember Nicolas Cage played Dracula in Renfield? That was awesome. Like, but yeah, so I saw that, and then I also finally checked out 65, the Adam Driver versus Dinosaurs movie, which was okay. It's pretty much what you expect from it, but it doesn't have much besides that. Like it's like you get Adam Driver fighting dinosaurs, but you don't really get like too much else of like it has very familiar plot beats, and like you'll probably like be able to predict what's going to happen halfway through. Like just like very like familiar beats of like you've seen this you've seen this stuff before. I did not expect, like, right from the start, like with like the first like minute, there's kind of like opening text, and like the setup is not what I was thinking from the trailers, because like you've seen the trailers, Chris, like you would think like it's like Adam Driver's character like was in like is from like a future time, and he ends up back in like prehistoric times on Earth.
Right.
He is an alien. Like he is from a different planet. There's a human like civilization in like 65 million years ago that were like doing like intergalactic travel, and so they're on a different planet. They're on this planet called Samaris, and then he's doing a trip for that civilization, and then he crashes on prehistoric Earth 65 million years ago. So he's not from like a future Earth. They're not Earthlings.
What?
Like it's like I was like, it's such a weird why even that's such a weird like detail to like just make it like he went
Overlook.
through a wormhole and like ended up in the past. Like why is that like
Why did they do that? I did not expect that.
I was just like, wait, what? Like, there's this text of like, there was a civilization pre-humanity. It's like, and then like, they go like, planet Samaris. I'm like, wait, what? Like, and then it's like, and then it's just like, yeah, it's like future humans, but like, I guess they're not humans. They're Samarians or whatever they're called. It's like, it's such a weird, like, just unnecessary like detail of like, oh yes, we're just gonna make this like stupidly complex for no reason. I'm just like, it's not time travel. It's like this other alien civilization
Okay.
that visited Earth.
So,
Like
we were both betting time travel. Some guy goes from
that's
the
why
future too
I
far,
yeah
loops back.
I thought it was like Planet of the Apes. Like it was like, oh, I went through a wormhole and now I'm on a different time period of like the planet I came from. Like
Or like, time kind of lapped around again and it's dinosaurs again.
yeah, but nope, it's alien am driver like it was like traveling to like whatever planet, and then he ends up like the asteroid that is going to like hit the planet and like cause the dinosaurs to go extinct. Like parts of that like hit his ship and damaged his ship, so that's why he crash lands on Earth. And then he and then this young girl like the only survivors of the ship. Everyone else is dead. And this girl's from like a different part of the planet that they're from, so like they have like a communication barrier. Like he had a translator but it broke, so like he doesn't, so like they can't understand each other, so they have to like come up with like,
oh wait, she's even more of an alien than he is.
yeah, she's from like a different region of the planet that they're both from, so she has a different language than that driver. Yeah,
Earth is, people have different language barriers here, so I kind of get that in another
yeah.
civilization.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a high concept already to introduce in this high concept movie,
Yeah. But yeah, so they have to like come up with like a like pantomimes, and like they come like she like learns like certain words, and so like that's like you've seen that before, but I mean it's fine. They're both they have a pretty good like back and forth, and they have a fun like dynamic. And then it's just like, oh, there's another part of the ship crashed like a different part, or like a couple like miles away from them, and it has an escape pod they can use. So if they get to that, they can get off the planet. And so it's basically most of the movies just like them. They have to like get from like their crash, the one part of the crash, the other part of the crash, and like avoid the dinosaurs and get there before the asteroid hits the planet, it kills everything. So it's a lot of just like we're walking along, and then like, oh no, it's a T-Rex is attacking us, or like other like dinosaurs are attacking us. We have to like fight them off, and then get to like a cave, and then we're safe for a little bit. And there's some fun with like, because Adam Driver obviously like he's from like this other planet, so he has like crazy like weird future tech, or like alien tech, I guess. So he has like this like pulse rifle, and he's got like these like little like mini bombs. And he's got like it's basically it's like a video game like a overworld map, kind of like it's like a he like pin a thing on the map, and like that's how he's like into like this other part of the ship. The AI is just like, you are 10 kilometers from the checkpoints, or like
it's like a waypoint system that knows
that
map the planet.
He's got this like little device that like does like a million different things. Like it's like a it's like a GPS thing. It can play like holograms of like memories that he has. Like he has like, instead of pictures, he has like memories of like his family. And then
were they part of the first ship, like that ship that went down, or they're back on home planet?
He left them, and he was gonna be gone for like 2 years, and he was gonna come back. And it's basically Andrew is basically doing this trip to like wherever they're going, because his daughter's sick, so he needs to like raise, and this trip is gonna like raise enough money for like get her like treatment. So that's like his main like driving factor of like, I'm gonna be away for 2 years, but we'll have enough money to like get you like your treatment you need. And and then special effects wise, it's pretty good. I think it had like almost $100 million budget, so like the special effects are like, the dinosaurs all look pretty good. Like interesting like takes, like it's like kind of like different takes in dinosaurs you haven't seen before. They're not like Jurassic Park dinosaurs. They're like kind of like weirder and like ganglier and like more like vicious looking than like Jurassic Park dinosaurs. Like there's like these like weird like they have like longer arms, and like they're like like there's a lot of like crocodile like ones that like have like really like long legs and stuff. It's like kind of like offsetting. I'm just like it's like long limbed like crocodile looking thing like running after you. But there's just like T-Rexes and like some like other like raptors and stuff. So like there's like dinosaurs you recognize, but like some like other like weirder ones that like I don't even think have like a actual name. I think they just made them up for this movie. It's just like here's like a weird dinosaur monster we came up with.
Oh, they made a new dinosaur.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, it's solid. Like if you want to see Adam Driver fight a bunch of dinosaurs, with like future guns, like you get what you paid for that. But there's just like a lot of like plot beats where just like I know that I see where this is going. Like I've seen movies before. I know what this plot thing or like what's gonna happen or like what this twist is gonna be or like what's gonna happen in like next scene or something by the end of this. So you probably won't be surprised by anything that happens in it, but like it's a solid kind of like just if you want like a kind of pulpy like sci-fi movie. I don't think it's streaming like a streaming anywhere yet. It's a Sony movie, so I think so it'll probably be on Netflix. I would imagine fairly soon. If it actually I'm actually surprised it's not on Netflix already because like most of Sony movies end up on Netflix. But you can rent it on like like the normal places like on Amazon or YouTube or Google or whatever. So, but I would definitely like wait. Like if it does end up on like Netflix or something, that's probably the best place to check it out. But yeah, so I'll stop with those, and that's it for me. So we can wrap things up for the week. Definitely have our site. We've got all of our usual features. We got news, trailers. We mentioned next week our Young Indiana Jones and the Mystery of Blues counter will be up next week. I think we're gonna have our Game Box 2.0 up next week too. You can check out you can see what games we played for this month, and all the other regular features that we put up every week are up there as well. So head over and check all that stuff out. And for Chris, I am Zach, and we will see you next week. For more Everything Action, head to www.everythingaction.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @EVAction, on Facebook by searching for Everything Action, and follow us on Instagram @everything.action. You can also subscribe and get more episodes on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.